Death has taken our beloved Myrna. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, be with them. For Myrna's love that united us in life, in which death cannot sever. For her companionship that we shared along life's path, and which continue through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness, and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. Those who wish may join me in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though he walks through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. For everything there is a season, a time for every appearance under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. As I met with David the other day, and we talked about his mother, and David, your mother. And unfortunately, we met before under other circumstances. And I listened to the remarks which David made to me, and the remarks that echoed your feelings, because he said that you two, in your love for your mother and what she meant to you, was mutual. That there was no disagreement what mother meant to you. And that reminds me of a psalm, because in some of the remarks I'm going to make later, you'll hear how this closely ties in with Myrna's life. A woman of valor who can find. She is more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hand to poor. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom, with laws of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband sings her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. In the rising of the sun and going down, we will remember Myrna. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, in the opening of buds and rebirth of spring, in the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year when it ends, when we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember Myrna. When we are lost and sick at heart, when we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. Myrna was born here in Cleveland, the daughter of Morris and Josephine Schweitz. She graduated from Cleveland Heights High School, my alma mater, so she had to be a good person. She was married to her beloved Gerald for almost 60 years. They had a good marriage. They believed in each other, they loved each other, they trusted each other. They were trusted, and their energy was expended in family and friends. She worked as a manager in a realtor office, covering the general eastern area of Cleveland. She was an avid reader, a fantastic cook, and mostly I was recalled the story of her famous matzo ball soup. That was what stuck out. That David said the matzo ball soup was the greatest. Everything she and Gerald did was for her children. Their life was centered around their children, giving them values, making sure they got a good education, and they were happy that they succeeded in that. Family was so important to her that they recall that basically every Thanksgiving they went to Michigan to cousins, her brothers, right? Your uncles? Cousins. And they had Thanksgiving there. They didn't go on many vacations because they believed that the values of being with their children and watching them grow and experience their lives would shape them into better people. So this Thanksgiving trip really meant a lot to them. She was proud of being a realtor, but mostly she was proud of her children and her grandchildren. You were important to her and to your grandfather. You represented their legacy. I always, in humor, tell the story that when the first grandchild was born, the children themselves dropped down a peg. Grandchildren become the most important thing in a grandparent's lives. And I see heads going up and down and agreeing with me. Why? In my estimation, is because that shows their lineage continues. And as each one of you came after that, your parents dropped down a little more and a little more. But knowing what you have told me about your mother, that love never diminished that she gave you. And that you have to keep. That's her legacy to you, and that's your father's legacy to you. That those values that you're going to give to those behind you. Hopefully, they'll engage this legacy, and they'll treat you in the coming years with the respect and the love that you have shown to your parents. It was my honor getting to know you. I appreciate you, I respect you, and thank you for allowing me to be part of your lives. We are assembled with our friends in the darkness that is falling upon them. We raise our voices together to the source of life, asking for comfort and strength. We need light when gloom darkens our lives. We need fortitude and courage when pain and loss assail us. May we find these in God, who preserves from destruction all that is good. Let us find them too in loved ones and companions who do God's work by binding up the wounds of the stricken. Who among us has not passed through trials and bereavements? Some bear fresh wounds in their hearts and therefore feel more keenly the kinship of sorrow. Others whose days of mourning are more remote still recall the comfort that sympathy brought to our sorrowing hearts. May our sharing of sorrow and our deeds of solace bring comfort to the loved ones of Myrna, Linder. At this point, we have an obligation in the Jewish religion that we witness Myrna being placed fully into her grave. This is being witnessed by her family and friends who knew her and loved her, and later not left up to strangers, even though these gentlemen here are very capable of doing this. They didn't know her. This is all of our obligations to make sure she's placed fully in her grave. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made that journey, stage by stage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage, made stage by stage, from birth to death, to life everlasting. God, you gave us loved ones to make them the strength of our life and the light of our eyes. They depart and leave us on a lonely way, but you are the living fountain from which our healing flows. To you the stricken look for comfort, and the sorrow-laden for consolation. O God, we see life as through windows that open on eternity. We see love that endures and the soul endures. We see that the years are more than grass that withers, more than flowers that fade. They weave a timeless pattern in a world that is a dwelling place of your love and glory. Each of us have our own memories and our own thoughts about Myrna. So we're just going to take a minute or so with silent prayer and remembrances. Please rise for the memorial prayer. El Mole Rachamim Shochem Bramamim Hamse Menucha Nacha Tacha Kamfe Hashkina Im Karoshim Udhorim Kazor Harakia Misarim Es Nishmas Myrna Linder Shalach Leolamo Beal Harachamim Asterehu Perseser Kanafo Leolamim Vayisor Pesor Hachaim Es Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato V'yanuach B'Shalom Amish Kavav and Amar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering praise to Myrna Linder, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance, and may she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. Early and late all must answer the summons to return to the source of being. For we lose our hold on life when our time has come. As the leaf falls from the branch when the day is done, the deeds of the righteous enrich us all, as the fallen leaf enriches the soil beneath. The dust returns to the earth. The spirit, though, lives on in our hearts. Like the stars by day, our beloved dead are not seen by mortal eyes. They shine on forever. Theirs is eternal peace. Let us be thankful for the companionship that continues in a love stronger than death. Sanctify the name of God we honor the memory of Myrna Linder. If you wish to recite with me the Mourner's Kaddish. Yiskadav, Yiskadash, Shemei Rabbah, B'alma Divra Hirusei, B'amlich Malchusei, B'chayim Chon, Uvyom Echon, V'chaye Dechol Beis Yisrael, B'agalav Isman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'olam U'lomei Amaya. Yisbarach V'yishtabach V'yisbarar V'yisramam V'yisnaseh. V'yisadar v'yisalev v'yisalal shemei tekudashah barichu. V'elam imchal berchasa v'shirasa. Tush berchasa v'nechamasa. Damiram b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. And now the sages have given Myrna this charge. Lechi shalach Adonai, go your way, for God has called you. Lech Adonai yeh imecha, go your way, may God be with you. May you find righteousness before you, and the glory of God receive you, and grant you that everlasting peace. Before we do the concluding act of Hesed Shalom, I want to say to the grandchildren, if you notice, I didn't give you the cards for the Kaddish to recite. There's a reason for that. By Jewish law, you're not considered religiously a mourner. And that goes back thousands of years ago when this was set up, all these rules and beliefs. They realized back then what I said earlier, that grandchildren are special. And your grandmother and every grandparent would not want their grandchildren to go through mourning. Eventually you will be, but she would want you to continue to enjoy life. And that's why, by Jewish belief, you don't say the Kaddish at this time. Now we're going to proceed with a final act. It's called the act of Hesed Shalometh, loving kindness, where I'm going to ask the family first to take a mound of earth, and place it upon her grave. We call it the act of loving kindness because we're doing something for Myrna that she can't do for herself, and say thank you for doing this for her. We're putting a warm blanket of earth upon her grave. So we'll ask the family to do this act first, and then those who wish may also do it after that. On behalf of the Linder family, I thank you for being here today, sharing with us and with them this service. Thank you again. You wish to start?